Thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to be here today. And what we're going to talk about today is healthcare. Obviously, that's what I do here. And what we had before the current administration came along wasn't doing too well. Then the administration came along and said, we're going to change that. I believe we're going to make it worse. Okay? So, promise change. We got it. What happens is healthcare is doubling about every 5 or 10 years. Cost of healthcare is doubling. Okay, 30% of the people in this country are overweight. We have vaccines that say absolutely, positively, very clearly, this doesn't work. But we're going to give it to you anyway. Okay? Now, a while ago, they had vaccines for children, and I have a cousin who has twins, and they were given their MMR vaccine and at around 2 or 3 years old, and within about a week or so, they were diagnosed as autistic. Now, of course, the vaccine had nothing to do with it, but we had a thing called thimerosal that was put in vaccines. Thimerosal is what? Mercury. Okay? Now, if I were to take a thermometer that had mercury in it, break it, drop it here, what would we have to do? Evacuate the building, bring in a hazmat team, okay, with suits on, and clean up the mercury that I just dropped. Yet, we can still put a form of mercury, thimerosal, into a vaccine. Doesn't make any sense to me. So, what happened was we finally took the thimerosal out of children's vaccines, even though they're safe, we took it out anyway. However, what vaccine still has thimerosal in it in most cases? Flu vaccine. Okay? Now, if we eat mercury, what's a good source of mercury? Fish. Absolutely. Great source of mercury. If we eat it, it goes through the digestive system, gets absorbed differently than if we inject it directly into the blood. And mercury is a metal. And when metal gets into an electrical system, it short circuits the electrical system. Can we agree with that? Okay. Now, your brain is an electrical system. Your brain sits up here, right? In most cases. And the brain sends messages down your spine, out your nerves, to every cell in the body. If you get this simple concept, it will be a paradigm shift in how you understand what healthcare is and how the body works. Because in most cases, we try to cover up the symptoms. We don't treat the cause. So if we came into the room today and the lights were off, what would we do? Turn them on. Turn them on. Can you shut the lights off? Let's do a big experiment here, okay? All right. Now, what would we do? One of two things. One is we can go up there and change the light bulbs. But you wouldn't think to do that, would you? You would do what?
Turn on the light.
Yes?
I would open the blinds.
You would open the blinds. Okay? Logic. There's no room for logic here. Opening the blinds would let light in, or turning the electrical circuit to light up the light bulbs, connecting the light bulbs to the electricity. We do it every single day. And yet, for some reason, when it comes to healthcare, we never think about connecting the brain to the organs. Right now, there's a nerve going to your arm. If I say move your arm, you could, right? You have control of it, right? Move your leg, blink your eyes, nod your head. You have control of your body because your brain tells it what to do by way of the electrical wires that we call nerves. If I were to cut the nerve to your arm, no matter how hard you tried, could you move your arm? Say no. Okay. No. Okay. You'd be paralyzed, right? Okay? But if I would pinch the nerve to your arm, you still might have some control of it, but it wouldn't work at 100%. And we've all done that. You fall asleep on your arm, right? You want to move it, it just lays there, and you're going to shake it out. Fall asleep on your leg. What about the nerves that go to your organs? There's a nerve right now going to your heart. If I would cut the nerve to your heart, you would die. There you go. You would die. Right. But if I would pinch the nerve to your heart would still work, but not at 100%. What about the nerve to the liver, spleen, the colon, the gallbladder, the adrenal glands, reproductive organs? All controlled by nerves. And for some reason, we follow this paradigm that if the heart isn't working, it must be the heart. If the liver isn't working, it must be the liver. Nobody ever turns on the switch. We keep changing the light bulbs. Doesn't make any sense. No. See? So when this paradigm shift occurs in healthcare, we will then start treating the cause of the problem. First thing I feel you should always check is the switch. If the bone in the neck moves out of place, that might be the nerve to my thyroid gland, my heart, my lungs, a little lower, my stomach, my spleen, my liver, my gallbladder. Put those bones that are out of place back in place, open up the nerve supply, and see if that works. Now, if we turn the light switch on and the light didn't work, we can always go change the light bulb, right? But that's secondary. For some reason, we keep making that primary. Your heart isn't working, we're going to have to take your heart out. The body is self-healing. And that's the neat part about it. We were just never taught how to fix it. And we don't have to know how to fix it. The body knows how to fix it. We just have to stop damaging it. So step number one, we want to make sure the nervous system is working properly. If you have a pinched nerve, fix it. 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. That's another big statement. I gave a lecture Tuesday at a huge cardiac center. I was the guest speaker at a cardiac center. And when I got there, the HR person met me at the door. It's such a pleasure to meet you. It's such an honor to have you here, blah, blah, blah. And she said, we've never had a wellness program before. What? You're a heart center, and you've never had a wellness program before? They're changing light bulbs. Okay? I was the first speaker ever in this cardiac center, big cardiac center in Atlanta, to ever do a wellness program for them. At the end, she came up to me and said, that was the most amazing thing we've ever done. Can we book you again for next May before you're booked up? They were so excited, they wanted the information, but no one ever knew how to give it to them. So number one, we have to have the nervous system working properly. 90% of the time you can have a pinched nerve and not know it. Don't raise your hand, but if you have high blood pressure, does it hurt? Diabetes? Cancer? The things that kill us don't hurt. How do we find them? Through screening. Take my blood pressure. I'm on high blood pressure medication. Every patient I've ever seen, I say, all right, Barbara, you're on high blood pressure medication. What are we doing to get off that high blood pressure medication? I don't know. When did doctors say, how long are you on it for? I don't know. So I'm not saying drugs are wrong. I'm not against drugs. I'm against the unnecessary use of drugs. So if we can fix the cause of the high blood pressure, then we don't have high blood pressure anymore. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we need the medication. Diabetes doesn't hurt. Patients come in all the time. Doc, I have my blood pressure done. I have high blood pressure. I have blood work done. I have diabetes. So now I'm on 2 different medications. And then I have high cholesterol. High cholesterol, 75% of cholesterol comes from your liver. 25% comes from your diet. So we put you on a statin drug. Statin drugs will lower your cholesterol. But the same enzyme that produces cholesterol in your liver also produces something called coenzyme Q10. Anybody hear that? Okay, CoQ10 gives you energy. It makes the mitochondria, the part of your cell that produces energy, work better. So if you're taking statin drugs, you're not producing coenzyme Q10 properly, you get tired. You get weak. Now this muscle might get weak, or this muscle might get weak, but what about this muscle? It gets weak too. Every single day, people die from taking statin drugs, not because they had a heart attack, but because their heart stopped, because it didn't have enough CoQ10 to create energy to cause the muscles to contract. And at no point did the people ever say, what can I do to lower my cholesterol? First thing I check is the nerve supply right here. That's the nerve supply to the liver. Make sure that's working. Then look at their diet. And then the one thing that seems to be ignored more than anything is the digestive system. So you have to have a normally functioning nervous system. If you have a pinched nerve, get it fixed. It's that simple. Number 2, get the digestive system working. Don't raise your hands, but how many people have gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, acid reflux? 85% of my patients have digestive problems. 15% lie. Everybody's got something. Gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, acid reflux. What do we do about it? Nothing. Okay? If anybody takes those proton pump inhibitors, you have acid reflux, take a proton pump inhibitor. You see it advertised on TV constantly. Every third commercial is for something about acid reflux, right? And we take this medication, and it shuts down your body's ability to produce hydrochloric acid, which stops the acid reflux. Now, how old are you? 11. At 11 years old, she's got about 100% of the digestive enzymes she's going to have. When we were 11, we had 2. So what happens is, if she's the average American, which you're not because you're here, by the time she's 60, she's going to have about 20% of the digestive enzymes she has today. By the time she's 70, she'll have about 10%, and these are estimates. And by the time she's 80, she's floating right around 0. And this is the only statement I'm going to make in this workshop today, is this. I believe that's why people die between 70 and 80. They starve to death. They don't have digestive enzymes to break down the food. Remember back in high school and college? 6-pack of beer, pizza, 3 hours of sleep? Try it now. Can't do it anymore, right? Because our digestive enzymes are plummeting as we get older. And then if we take something to suppress our stomach acid, it makes it worse. You need that stomach acid to break down your food to absorb your nutrition. And I love this one, because I get emails just about every single day from the radio show. I just finished my show, as a matter of fact. So, give you technology, right? I get emails just about once a week or so. And they say, Doc, I did that little trick you told me about my stomach acid. Because what I find with most people, if they have acid reflux, they don't have too much stomach acid, they have too little stomach acid. And the food sits in their stomach for too long and it rots. And when it rots, it produces lactic acid. Lactic acid is what a lot of that reflux is. So if we can digest food like she can, we won't have that acid reflux anymore. So here's your $100,000 tip. I recommend everybody in this room, except for her, do something called raw organic apple cider vinegar every single day. And that's a lot of you smile because you knew your grandmother did. Raw organic apple cider vinegar. I would recommend about 2 tablespoons a day for the average person. 2 tablespoons of raw organic apple cider vinegar is going to alkalize your system. What? What's her? You do it already?
No, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to try it.
Okay.
I have this whole restless leg syndrome thing going on, and somebody just suggested this morning that I have a couple of pills of vinegar.
How about that? Pretty cool, huh? So what I'm trying to do here, what I hope I can continue to do with you, is teach you things that you can take care of yourself. Because the Wall Street Journal did an article a couple of weeks ago, and they said the next 15 years we're going to have 15,000 less doctors than we have today. This group is going to become senior citizens. So there's going to be more old people, us being part of them, who need more health care with 15,000 less doctors. Then the Wall Street Journal said, wait a minute, we were wrong. It wasn't 15,000. We're predicting now about 39,000 less doctors in the next 15 years, with a bunch of us becoming old folks. How hard do you think it's going to be to get health care? And Medicare, they're trying to cut Medicare doctors' fees by 23%. How many of you in this room, if you took a 23% cut in your salary, wouldn't affect your lifestyle? 23%? Yes, except for you. Wise guy. Yeah. So they want to cut doctors by 23%. So if I'm accepting Medicare and suddenly I have to cut my bills by 23% and my overhead stays the same, how excited am I going to be to accept a Medicare patient? I'm not excited now. I do. I love taking Medicare patients. But at a 23% cut, it would be a lot more challenging. A lot of doctors would go out of business. And so I don't know of any time more important than now for you to have to learn how to take care of your health. Because the chances are in 15 years, no matter what happens, we're not going to have the doctors and the resource to take care of you, which might be a good thing. Never put it that way before. So raw organic apple cider vinegar, what it seems to do is it seems to stimulate your digestive enzymes. It alkalizes your system. And it helps break down food faster to get it from your stomach into your small intestine. Good quality, broken down, digested food into your small intestine. So you can absorb the nutrients from your food. Wow. How cool is that? I don't like apple cider vinegar. I don't like the taste of it. Okay? I'll take 2 tablespoons, I'll chug it with water. Now I eat a pretty good diet. About 80% of my diet is raw food. Raw fruits and vegetables, which have all the enzymes in it. But when I have a big cooked meal, you know, beans, lentil soups, split pea soups, or something like that, I'll do the apple cider vinegar, and it's amazing. No gas, no bloating, it's amazing. And you can absorb the nutrition. So that little tip alone, yes ma'am? What's bloating? Is when your stomach goes, okay? Yes. Yes?
Do you take the apple cider vinegar with each meal or throughout the day?
I would suggest if you have a digestive problem, start it with every meal and see how you feel.
So 2 tablespoons with every meal.
Can't do 2 tablespoons, do 1. Can't do 1, do a teaspoon. Build up to it, but it's got to be the raw organic kind. The other kind I found out 2 nights ago is petroleum-based. I did not know that. A friend of mine, he manufactures spices and seasonings. And we were driving to go out to dinner, and we were talking about apple cider vinegar, strangely enough, because that's what we do. And he said, did you know a lot of that is petroleum-based? It doesn't even have a lot of apple, it's like apple cider flavor, or apple flavor. And I went, no, because that's a petroleum-based. So we don't. Okay? So if we can get the nervous system lined up properly, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, arm pain, hand pain, wrist pain, that's telling you you have a pinched nerve. Fix it. It's that simple.